Welcome back to Life and Style Relationship Wednesday. We are on Talk to Pastor Chris, and we're coming to you from the Ruby VIP Lounge at the Panari along Mombasa Road. It's a place where you can come in here for both business and for leisure. You know, just have a place to hang out with your friends or even do business. Maybe I start with you, Lois. You know, how do we define mental illness?
I think mental illness is just not being able to function as would be seen as normal in the society. Not being able to say, think clearly, not being able to process your emotions clearly, not being able to understand what is happening around you clearly. Those are the sort of pointers you would look at when you want to find out whether someone is mentally healthy or not. You would want to find out their thought processes and their emotional, you know, highs and lows, and that's basically what it is to do about.
All right.
Yeah.
Because you see, when we use the term like somebody being mentally ill, most people have a picture of a very extreme kind of situation that it's not the same picture that you're giving us right now. So it's difficult for anybody to think that you can be mentally ill while working in the office.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's possible.
Yeah, it's very possible. A lot of people suffer from mental health issues and they don't know about it, because I think also the information is really not out there in the open that certain things would, you know, be pointers that you're not actually okay. And people have this whole view that you must be working in the streets and you must be collecting that and whatnot. But that's not necessarily what it is. There are a lot of people who suffer in silence. They don't know what's going on, and these people go on to do very strange things like, you know, go into drugs. And some people who take a lot of drugs are actually mentally ill. They just don't know. And so they're trying to solve something that they don't know and they're not aware that they have.
Okay, I'll still stick with you a bit. Sometimes people go into drugs because they're mentally ill.
Yes.
They're not mentally ill because they're in drugs.
No. It's because, you see, one of the things that for me came because of my experience, I got to understand that a lot of people who are mentally ill go through periods of confusion. They don't know exactly what's happening with them. They know that there's something wrong, but they can't really pinpoint and say, I think this is my issue. And because it's something that's happening internally, it's not so easy to find out and to begin to say, now, it's not like malaria. I know the symptoms. This is not something that is totally out in the open in general knowledge that you would now know I'm not well, I'm feeling bad and whatnot. So a lot of people, when they're dealing with maybe, and they'll call it, I'm so stressed, I'm so stressed, I'm so stressed. These people will go out, start drinking, not understanding that it's actually an internal problem in their minds, in their emotions, that is causing them to feel like that. And so they'll go drink because they feel that drinking or taking drugs will be the outlet. But, you know, it just makes things worse.
All right.
Yeah.
Nyakabi, please walk us through your story a little bit. You've said you're a mental health sufferer.
Yes.
But before we got on air, you mentioned that you're a teacher. At what point did you get to know, or at what point did you discover or think that you could be having mental health issues?
Actually, I didn't know. I didn't know. I was in the middle of my studies overseas, and I just started feeling I wasn't myself. And then I was like, okay, this is a feeling that I've not had before, so really, what is it? So as I said, I was in the middle of my studies, and then I started feeling depressed, and I couldn't understand what is making me depressed. In fact, it was a point where I was actually feeling, I would feel happy and sad at the same time. And then even reading on depression, it's not something that I had read about before, this is how you feel. But something told me that I'm depressed. And actually, when I was being diagnosed, it came out that I'm suffering from depression, as well as having a condition known as schizoaffective disorder.
So you actually went to seek?
I sought help.
Right.
I sought help with assistance.
Okay.
I initially, also, I didn't know, like I said, I was actually sick. I didn't know. In fact, it's a situation where you think you're okay, but it's the other people who are not okay. So
right.
it's the other people who need to go for treatment, not me.
Not you.
Yeah. So it was really difficult. It was a very difficult time in my life. Accepting and coming to terms, not initially, but now over the years, gradually.
Right. Okay. At the point where you came to accept that this is a condition, what was your greatest battle? After accepting this is your condition, let me just lead that question. Did you ever feel that you were responsible for your condition?
No, I never thought, and I also never thought it could happen to me. I always thought, okay, if this thing were to happen, in fact, it's an area that I never gave much thought to. And if it could happen, it happens to the other person, but not me. Slowly, as I came to accept that it has happened to me, it made the healing process a little faster.
Okay.
Yes.
Is that the case for most people? Just accepting that this is where I am at, and then they begin to heal? Or does it also trigger other emotions sometimes?
Yeah. Most people are not as as open as Nyokabi. A lot of people are so scared when they find out that I have a mental illness. They don't want to face it, because you see, there's basically a lot of stigma in society. Because you're a mad person, and you know all these things are not very good. They'll make someone who is unwell unable to go to a hospital, or even unable to seek help from anyone. And so if they can't do that, then they can't accept it for themselves. They can't say that I'm actually unwell, you know. There's a lot of stigma, and so a lot of people will go through all sorts of emotions before they accept that there's something that is not right.
I have asked this before, and I will ask it here. How do you differentiate between somebody's personality and picking up that this person is not well?
I think then it's the extremities, because you see, there's that which is normal, and basically the whole, like a very large population would experience the same. Like if I'm sad, there are a lot of people who experience sadness, but if it's too much and it's too protracted over a period of time, then you will now get to find out that this is not normal sadness, this is something else. If I'm sad over, let's say, or let's use another example. I was telling a friend of mine that if you go through a situation where, let's say, you've lost your best friend and you're not feeling anything, that's a pointer that there's something happening, because ideally your emotions should be, you should be totally sad and wrecked that someone I know and I love has passed on. But when you're not feeling anything, it shows that there's a disconnect between what you're going through and what is happening in your internal state. And so those are the things you want to find out. If I'm too happy, there's the happiness that is normal, and everyone will know, okay, that's just generally a happy person. But then it reaches another extreme where people are like, well, okay, that person, there is something there. And so those are just the little things. Like your emotion shouldn't be too much or too little. It should just be, yeah.
There are always pointers, let me interject. There are always pointers, like people who suffer from mental health. There are those who talk to themselves. I also, at some point, I was talking to myself. And you can just tell it through their character. Not only will they talk to themselves, they're also talking a lot. So there are always different pointers. And also what they're talking also does not make sense. You can reach a point what you're saying. You're talking too much and it's not making sense.
Okay. When you talk about talking too much, when it comes to men, is that the same thing? Because I feel like when men have a lot of issues, then they buckle in even the more. What are the different expressions, or are there different expressions of mental illness when it comes to gender?
Not really. I can't say that there really are, because you see, conditions are the same whether it's one gender or the next.
All right.
It's just the way they are expressed that is a bit different. Because for men, like we said, they don't talk so much. So when they're depressed, it's not really easy to know you, because men will keep quiet. Women will tend to talk and just say, this is how I'm feeling this, I'm feeling that, I'm feeling. which is the difference between men and women. However, how it is expressed in terms of, let's say if someone has a condition where, like Nyokabi was saying, you talk too much, that will definitely happen because it's an illness, and that is one of the presentations of that illness. You'll find that someone is talking too much, or they're saying things that can't be understood, or they're seeing things that are not there, and that is basically across the board.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just how it's expressed that sometimes is different.
All right. How did that affect you, or how has that affected you in terms of relating with people, in terms of your career? How has that affected you?
It was difficult initially because I didn't want people to know that there was something wrong with me, even though they could sense there's something not right, maybe because of the way I was carrying myself. I remember that time initially, I didn't want to come out and to talk to people. You'd rather hide yourself because really society points at you, zeroes on you and says, you know, that's not how to behave. If you're not right in the head, you know where your place should be. It should probably be Madari, if anything. It's not taken well. If society did learn to take this thing also well, I think people would come out and speak out like is going on now, today in our society. People are beginning to talk.
Okay. But what are some of the triggers? What would be some of the triggers that would cause somebody who is just supposed to be, and I use, they're supposed to be normal. Then somewhere along the line, they begin to struggle with this. What are some of those triggers?
I think it's too much stress. I didn't even know I was going through so much stress. I think sometimes you may not know you're going through so much stress, and yet it may be stress. Pressure of different kinds. The fact that I was also in a foreign country, there are different pressures that I'm facing, whether it may be studies, work, different things.
Trying to balance everything.
Trying to create a balance in everything, a work-life balance, and, you know, a social, too, point of view, balance. So, you know, when you're not creating that balance in your life, I mean, things will definitely fall apart. Yeah. But when you're also stressed, sometimes you may not know. I can tell you, for me, I didn't know I was very stressed. Yes, I was a little stressed, like is normal. We all get stressed at some point in our lives, or we continue getting stressed. But I didn't know that I was overstressed, such that now this issue started cropping up of mental health.
All right.
I think another pointer would be your genetic predisposition. Because if you come from a line of people who have had a mental illness, it's a higher probability that maybe you would suffer the same. So that is a pointer. You would want to look at your generation, like who in my family, in my lineage, has suffered from this, and you know, it could be a pointer.
That's not so easy sometimes, because if nobody has ever been hospitalized
that's
for
true.
mental illness.
No, but you know, you can tell because some people in the, and I know, I think we hear this sometimes, like auntie nannies. Sometimes...
you see why I'm saying that is sometimes somebody thinks, you know, I've got a temper because my father used to have a temper.
Yeah. It becomes a myth.
Oh, yeah.
They don't look at it
like it's a mental
because they're thinking, okay, I just inherited temper from him, and yet this person is always angry over everything, and people think that's just his personality.
That's true.
So how do you even get to know?
It is very hard to pick up. It is very hard to pick up. I think unless something is leading into something where you're maybe uncontrollable or you're just acting strange, maybe at that point. But before that, I think everything is normal. I mean, everyone gets upset, everyone has a temper. So really, you have to get to a point where there's so many factors that are contributing to it such that you need help.
All right.
Yeah.
For you, apart from feeling that you overstressed, did anybody point out to you that you could be unwell? Or you just thought by yourself, I'm not all right?
Yes. I had one or two people pick up on it.
Okay.
I didn't know.
How did you react to that? You know, somebody just telling you, I don't think you're okay.
And they're also trying to be polite at the same time.
Yes.
Not to, you know, because mental sufferers are known to be violent, you know, in nature. They can be violent. Some, not everybody. I just thought, okay, one or two people came to my help, and I just said, you know what, maybe I do need treatment and I don't know. So I decided, why not? Let me just try out this treatment and see what becomes of it.
Yeah,
but it was a struggle.
It was a struggle.
It was a very big struggle because you don't see yourself as sick. I never saw myself as sick, never. You know, you're actually seeing the other person, and the other person, they're the ones who are sick. They're the ones with the problem. And because they're the ones with the problem, they need to go and see the doctor, not me. So it was a big, it was like a tug of war.
When people are in relationships, Lois, so if I'm relating with this person and they've always got this, they're throwing tantrums all the time, they're very upset all the time, and here I am. For example, I'm a man, so I'm relating with this person. I don't want anybody to know that my relationship or my marriage is having issues. You know, they're cracking the telly. When they're upset, they take the phone, they break it. And I'm thinking, well, that's just her personality. How is somebody supposed to handle that? And you don't want to tell, you just can't go to your wife or your girl and say, I think you're sick.
I think you're sick. Yeah, because you never know what will happen then. I think for a man, because the example you've given is a man trying to understand his woman, the person he's in a relationship with, it's important that this man just comes out and talks to someone, talk to a licensed psychologist or a psychiatrist, find out exactly what is going on, you know, because these things are not normal. It's not normal to do that. When you're angry, it's not normal to break your TV because, I mean, you spent money buying it. So you want to talk to someone.
But you see, they say that when a woman is upset, she wants you to feel the way she feels.
Do you know, I think throwing a bottle can be seen as normal. Yeah. Throwing things around the house, I mean, not too much, a little bit because you're upset, and that's the way of taking it out. It can be seen as normal. It can also be seen as normal because you've always known this person to do this. Yeah. Yeah. It becomes a normal. It normalizes.
But it's not normal, right?
And yet it's not. And yeah, they do it a few times to a point that you accept it.
Yeah, I think the scary thing about this is that you would be in that situation and just begin to say, like you've said, that this is normal for this person. This is basically just how this person is. And I think over time, it'll take a toll on you as a man in that relationship. It'll take a toll on you. Whether you like it or not, it'll begin to affect you. And so that's the point and the time where you need to, you know, take a step back and actually honestly talk to someone, because there's no other way out of it. You need to talk to someone who can help you and then know how to approach your wife or girlfriend.
Because I'm thinking, you know, we talked about the stigma that comes with it. Who am I talking to? I want to come and talk to Lois, who is a counseling psychologist, and I don't want my wife or my husband to feel they've been exposed. Like I went behind their back to talk to somebody and make the other person feel like this person is not healthy mentally. On the other hand, I don't know whether to talk to their parents, who may feel like, you know, why are you saying that our child is mentally ill? Because for some reason, families are protective. Yeah. So this person, this spouse who is caught up in here, sometimes doesn't know which way to go. Yeah. So they just feel like, okay, I'll manage this. I'll handle this. So you say that we shouldn't fear going out and talking about it.
Honestly, don't, because there's no other way out of it. If you don't, this person will never get help. They'll continue getting worse, and it'll be stress for you and the rest of your family. I think initially it'll be difficult because it's always difficult to go out and talk about issues that are very sensitive. It's always difficult. It's never easy. But once you do it, you find out that it's not as bad as you thought.
All right.
Yeah. I think the important thing is also to get a friend. You don't need to go directly to a psychiatrist or psychologist. A good friend will tell you you need help, and then it will be easier to make those steps forward. Just get a friend. Talk to them. Or even if you can't talk to the friend should be able to talk to you, and you're able to come out with the problem and then find a solution to the issue.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you ever battled with suicidal thoughts?
Yes. Yes. And when you're suicidal, you could almost do anything. You could almost do anything. Even jumping off a rooftop, it's possible. It's possible. I've had that thought way back, many years ago. Even, just wanting to kill myself, just putting a knife to my throat and, deciding, okay, yes, we're going to end this life. And because it's not that you want to do it, it's a battle. It's like an urge you're feeling to do it.
Okay.
Something else, also self-mutilation. I remember there was a time, I stopped feeling that though. I would want to self-mutilate myself. And I had seen other people do it, so I wondered, okay, this feeling has come to me, or I'm going to do exactly what I saw other people do. So thank God I never self-mutilated myself, but it feels like that. You feel you need an opening, a release of what you're going through. So you want to self-mutilate yourself, and you can self-mutilate yourself anywhere and continue doing it and doing it, because I think sometimes it's just an outlet you're looking for, and this outlet is not coming. But thank God I didn't do that.
Talking about outlets, some people get into relationships and they become very abusive in them. They're in it not to relate with the other person, but they're actually looking for an outlet. So for some of them, it is just for physical satisfaction or something. So that's how they use the other person. Is that an expression of illness?
Yes, to some extent, yes. Because let's say you have a personality disorder. You are feeling something, but you don't know how to express it. Let's use a narcissist, because everyone is talking about narcissists nowadays.
Well, I see that all over the place.
Everyone is talking about it. So a narcissist believes they are the best. No one is as good as them. This person will put you down in a relationship. They'll say you don't know anything, there's nothing you can do. In fact, you can never survive without me. They don't understand that they are unwell. So they'll make their partner feel like they are less than. And so the partner will begin feeling, I'm not important in life, I'm just the worst. And so instead of this relationship being something that will help these two individuals, it becomes a crutch for the narcissist, because he needs to feel superior. Okay. It becomes a place of pain for the other party, because now she begins to feel, or he begins to feel like, I'm not worth anything. And so it's just a cycle that will go on. And these people will go on to other relationships, if at all, and they will continue that cycle.
I was about to ask you that. Like, if I am unwell and I relate with the other person, we talked about the place where people are unable to go out and seek help. Doesn't it affect the partner? Aren't there high chances of them also, somewhere along the line, becoming ill?
I don't think they will be stressed, yes. If they don't handle it, it could end up being something that they never ever expected to go through. Yeah,
don't you think it would even change the other person's personality?
I think too much pressure, because you're trying to help the other person, and then you're caught up in this web that you can't get yourself out of. It can be a messy situation. You can become a victim.
Right.
Yeah, you can, because you're really trying to help the person and you don't know how. You've used all techniques to help the person. You can be caught up in a web.
So that when they have their emotional roller coasters, so you
go
also
in with them. Yeah.
It's a web. It's a web.
So it's important to help the other person.
Yeah.
Because that also helps you.
Exactly.
All right.
It's very important to be there with them, and I think once you have the knowledge that my partner is not okay, then you are able to consciously tell yourself, okay, fine, he or she is going through a trying moment, I will be there for them. You'll know mentally, and you'll be conscious of it. This is how I should respond to this person. Let me not react when they do certain things. Let me not get totally angry because of something they've done, because I understand that they have a condition that they will get through.
Picking from your Kabi's story, where she talks about the element of stress and a lot of stress, and she talks about work and life balance. In a day, do you think that the internet has also become a source of stress and pressure?
I think so, because nowadays people are online, and whoever is prospering, I'm not. What's happening with my life? And there's a lot of comparison. There's a lot of feeling sorry for yourself. There's a lot of information going around that some of it is not true. Some of it is true, but then some of it isn't. And if you don't know who you are, and I always say it's very important to understand who you are as a person, because once you understand, you'll know, I don't need to be like Nyokabi. Nyokabi is prospering wherever she is, and thank God for her. But I am myself, and I have my own journey. Once you understand that, the stresses coming from internet and whatnot will be less. Actually, I was reading an article, and it was saying how young people in university now are more prone to depression because of social media, because they're there seeing how someone they're with in class is going to, I don't know, Dubai and shopping for like $1 million, and they're here poor. They use a matatu to go to class, and that's a problem.
You're being shown all these 20-something-year-olds who have become billionaires.
Yeah.
And you're thinking you're just trying to get a job which is going to pay you 25,000.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So you don't even want to take that. You're like, no, I can't. Whoever is doing so well, why am I suffering? And that could be a point of stress that could lead you to all sorts of things if you don't handle it well.
I believe mental health is not just affecting spouses, but it has a trickling effect now to affecting the children within the family. I feel sometimes parents are not really being there for their kids as they used to be before. And so now kids are turning this attention to social media because they're trying to find a way out. Who is going to solve these problems I'm facing at home, at school, this pressure at home, this pressure at school? Mental health does happen now at an early age. And so we need to also address this mental health issue when it comes to kids at an early age.
How do we navigate through that? Because children now are exposed to a lot of information, both from their peers and the internet. There are these people that they think are doing very well, celebrities and stars, and for some reason, when they think that somebody is doing so well, then they feel that that person knows the truth. So whatever the person says will be taken as the absolute truth. And then here you are trying to also instill values. And they're comparing you with the other person, but they're thinking, but so-and-so is doing or saying this. How are we supposed to navigate through that?
I think if there's communication in the home, constant communication, that comparison issue will always be there. It's not something that has just started. It's always been there, but it's been magnified. It's a real big issue. But as there continues to be communication within the home, children being given that opportunity to talk about what they're feeling, because now it's a situation where we don't necessarily talk to them. It's time for them to be heard. We seem to live in that society. Children need to be heard. But so if you give them that avenue where they can communicate, then even this issue of comparison, even if it crops up, it wouldn't be so much of a big issue because we're talking about it in the home. This constant communication. Is there a problem at home? The child is going through a problem? If the parents can be there and the children know I can go to mommy, I can go to daddy, then it makes things a lot more better.
Some of these parents did not grow up in conversational homes.
Yeah, that's true.
And sometimes they don't know how to have conversations. How do we go about this?
There are youth programs that now involve not only parents but also children, so that is also an avenue where they can participate. The different programs out there that are out to help both parents and children. I know you wanted to say something.
I think with parents, and it's true, that's an issue that we are facing right now, that parents grew up in a home that was not very supportive, and now they don't know how to do the same. But I think there has to come a place where that cycle will be broken if we want to ensure that we have a generation of people who are healthy mentally. Parents need to, I always say information is the best, because once you have information that as a parent this is what I need to do, it will enable you to know how to bring up your children. If I know that as a parent right now I was not brought up in a family that was very supportive, but that has its own effects. If I know that this will cause my children to experience the same issues I went through, or even worse, because anyway, let's be honest, I think as we go on from one generation to the next, issues are becoming more piled up and more and more and more. And so it's important for parents to want to get more information and be open to understanding what is happening. And I think that the onus is on us. In the workplaces, at church, you know, your religious places where you go to worship, talk about these things so that parents are able to understand that there is much more going on in our children and in our families than what was there before.
All right. That's all the time that we have had, but the conversation continues on Twitter, on Instagram, and on Facebook. Remember, the hashtag is KTN Life and Style, and talk to Pastor Chris. This is Relationship Wednesday, so keep the conversation going. Let's hear your views, your thoughts. And if you're out there and you have either a spouse, a child, a friend, a colleague that you think may be dealing with too much stress, you need to have intervention, you know, help them out. Sometimes, as Nyokabi said, she did not even know what she was dealing with or struggling with. So you go out there and help them out. Don't be afraid. You know, let's break the stigma. Let them know that we care about them. We're not trying to put them down, but we want them to be well, because when they're well, then we also are well. That's all the time we've had on Talk to Pastor Chris. Style with Crystal is coming up next. Keep it right here on Relationship Wednesday.